Very pleasant good afternoon, everyone, here at O'Neill's Grill for our weekly Fan and Press basketball lunches with JMU basketball coaches. We begin today with JMU women's coach Kenny Brooks as the Dukes. They have won 7 in a row now, and the last time we were here is 2 weeks ago. We got snowed out last Monday, as did the Dukes, and so we've got Coach Brooks with us here today. 7 consecutive wins, Coach. They haven't all been pretty, but you have managed to, this season is going to be one of those, I think, that has been constant adjustments for you, but yet you seem to be finding a way to have positive adjustments with this team.
You know, it's funny, Kurt. I'm the main culprit. You know, we talk about it wasn't pretty, but I know a lot of coaches that would love to have a 20-point victory and walk away from it and think it's the prettiest thing in the world. And maybe we're a little bit spoiled, but I think the thing we're looking at this year is not particularly the end result, but how we got there, because we understand that, you know, our margin of error is smaller without Precious and now without Ashley, and we're going to have to just find different ways of winning basketball games. You know, we're inserting kids who have not, played prominent roles for us in the past, and then we're asking them to step up and be main contributors, and they're doing a great job. You know, sometimes, if your offense isn't going as well as you would like, and it doesn't look as pretty as it normally does, but you still can hold your opponent to 40 points and win the basketball game by 20, then you're doing a really good job. So, yesterday I had conflicting emotions because I didn't think we played as well, and I wanted to play better on Sunday than we did on Friday, which I thought was a pretty good game. But I had to go back last night and reflect on what just happened over the weekend. And we beat 2 teams by 20 points that are winning basketball games in the CAA. Wilmington had just come off of a victory against Towson, which we struggled against a little bit at Towson. So I like where we are. I like what the kids are doing. They're stepping up. There's no excuses, and they're getting better as a whole. We just didn't play as well as I would have liked yesterday, but nonetheless, it was a really good weekend. Come away with 2 victories in front of great crowds at the Convocation Center, and we'll try to improve upon that when we get back to practice tomorrow.
When you're speaking of players stepping up, you're talking primarily, I know, about some of the younger ones like Barron and, of course, Cooper Williams. But in a post-game interview that I heard with Muff Mickens yesterday, she was taking a lot of the responsibility, the accountability for the fact that the Dukes were not very smooth offensively yesterday. How does that impact? Are you chatting about that during a game, after the game? Is she coming to you in those circumstances, or are you going to her and saying, look, Muff, this is what we want to have happen out here on the court?
I just left Muff, and she told me not to say anything bad about her when I came up here. So, but no, I wouldn't call them chats. Very strong discussions during the game yesterday. I wasn't pleased with her performance yesterday. She knows it. I expressed it. We talked about it during the game, after the game. And the thing with Muff, anyone and everyone who knows my relationship with Muff that knows it's a very strong one. And when the season started and Precious went down, and now with Ashley's absence, I told Muff, I'm leaning on her more than ever. There are times during the game where if we did have a Precious or we did have an Ashley out there along with, Muff and Jazz and the rest of the company, I wouldn't have to ask Muff to do so much. Muff could probably take a play off here or there. But with those kids not out on the floor, I need Muff to do so much more than she's ever had to do for me. I brought her in here and I took away her scoring prowess, and I said, I just want you to be a facilitator. Now with the injuries, I'm asking her to be a scorer again. We're asking her to be a defender. We're asking her to take charges. We're asking her to run the fast break. We're asking her to be the emotional leader to get the convo, ramped up. We're asking so much of her right now, and I understand that. But if we're going to win a championship, we're going to need every ounce of that from her. And she knows that. She knows that. I know that. Everybody in the Convocation Center knows that. And we just don't have the luxury of having, an All-American type guard right beside you, Muff, or, a very good guard in Ashley Perez right beside you, so you're going to have to do more, and you're going to have more responsibility on your shoulders. But a competitor like her, she relishes opportunities like that. What point guard, what confident point guard wouldn't want the weight of the team on their shoulder to pretty much run run, and as she goes, we go. And she understands that. I think I said it yesterday in the paper, that I'm glad she got that out of her system. And if we can get that out of her system and still win by 20, I'm okay. And I think that she understands. I mean, she was in my office just a minute ago for about like an hour, and we talked about yesterday, and she understands. And true to fashion, with my team and the way they are, I'm really stubborn. So after the game was over, I said my piece, kind of waited, and 2 hours later, she texted me apologizing, for her efforts, and it won't happen again. And that just goes to show you what kind of team we have, and they all understand that we want the big prize, and we know what we have to do to get that big prize.
It's easy to see what's happening within a ball game for the fans' perspective, but there are a lot of other dynamics that go within a game, and you and I just chatted here a moment ago. I think this is pretty interesting. The dynamics of having Ashley Perez and even sometimes Jasmine Guathme if she's in foul trouble, and of course Precious Hall on the bench. Certainly they have positive influence, but you have to kind of temper their coaching at times. And that's something that I'm sure the fans don't think about. My goodness, they can get a little carried away there on the bench also. Can you share that with us a little bit more?
Well, first and foremost, just that thought in itself is a nightmare. If you had told me in August that I would turn around and look behind me and at certain points of the game that I'm going to have Ashley and Precious and Jasmine on the bench, I would probably wake up in a cold sweat. But it is, every player is wired differently. What makes Precious go might not make Haley Barron go. And what makes Haley go might not make Muff go. And it's my job as a coach to really understand each and every kid's personality. And they're all different. Just like the 3 daughters I have at home, the 14 that I have at the office, they're all different. And, and for the coaches or the people who always say, they want to be treated equally or the same, that's no such thing, because everyone's different. So my thing is, I treat them all fairly, and it's up to me to learn their personalities and what makes them go. And so with Precious and Ashley, they're wired exactly the same, exactly. And if you see those two go at it, you're almost looking at a mirror image of each other, the way that they approach the game and their confidence level. Where Haley, I've had to coddle her a little bit more, just because she's wired differently. So there have been plenty of times during the game, and I can hear my 2 loudest cheerleaders, Precious and Ashley, very boisterous. And when Haley gets an opportunity to shoot it, especially in front of our bench, they're screaming at her, shoot it, Haley, shoot it. And Haley's not wired like that. Haley needs, a couple more feet to be open. She can't get it off as quickly as Precious can. And I have to temper that excitement from my bench and say, hey, she's okay. I'll let her know when she needs to shoot it. But they're so excited, and they want her to do as well, and they just expect for her to step into the role that they vacated with the same enthusiasm, the same confidence. But we're bringing Haley along a little bit differently and letting her know. And we've had to tell them that. We told them that. But still, nonetheless, they're going to go out there and cheer for her. And it's a lot of fun when Haley knocks down a 3 to watch Precious or Ashley, do a dance or, get fired up. And it makes me feel really good because, Precious has every, reason to sit and pout because she's not playing her senior year along with, the other seniors that she came in with. Ashley, Ashley thinks she has bad luck because she's been playing, has an opportunity, and she sprains her ankle. But those 2 are the first ones off the bench when anyone makes a really good play, and that just goes to show you that we have a really good chemistry on our team.
All right, we're at O'Neill's Grill with JMU women's basketball coach Kenny Brooks. The Dukes will begin a stretch of road games, some important ones coming up at Hofstra, Northeastern, and Drexel, probably the toughest stretch of CAA road games for the Dukes coming up. Let's now open it up to other members of the media that are with us here this afternoon at O'Neill's Grill.
So piggybacking off of Kurt's question, obviously Precious and Ashley would rather be on the court, but in a way, misery loves company. So how are they making the most out of being on the bench and kind of bonding in a way? In a way that other players aren't because they're on the court.
Well, I mean, you see them; they sit right beside each other. Again, they're wired exactly alike. They're doing things to um, get motivated, so to speak. I think I was looking at one of their Instagram or Twitter accounts, and they're coordinating their outfits. When they get an outfit, they're dressing up, they're taking pictures, and that's their biggest part of the game, other than actually cheering. But I couldn't be more pleased with the way both of them have handled, the adversity. They come out, like I mentioned before, they very well could pout. Because you have such a small window to come out here and play, and anytime you get to play at the Convocation Center and have 3,000 people cheering for you, it's a rush. And when you don't have that in your life for a little bit, it can be disappointing. But Precious has been fantastic. Her recovery is going unbelievably great. I think she'll be back out on the court before the season ends. Not that she'll play or not that she'll practice, but she'll be able to participate in some of the drills. I just left Ashley, and she was down on the court shooting a little bit. So they're doing things to stay engaged. They're doing things, whatever they can, to help this basketball team. And, and if we're fortunate enough to win a championship, they'll put that ring on their finger knowing that they contributed in a very positive way. So I couldn't ask for better leadership in what they do and staying engaged with what we're doing, because it's really helping along the younger players. There's been plenty of times where I looked out on the court, and there's been Muff, Haley, who's a sophomore, and 3 freshmen. And, and when they come to the bench, the upperclassmen, the ones who are hurt in particular, have done a really good job of helping and giving lots of advice.
We've talked about Haley numerous times, especially recently. So as a coaching staff, what's the challenges in keeping that consistency going into February, which is a very crucial stretch, obviously, to get into March?
If I knew, I'd bottle it up and sell it. It's a day-to-day process. Each and every one of these kids are very different. We have to find ways to get the best out of them. And Haley's mindset is totally different than Precious, which is totally different than Savannah. And we just have to. And myself and my staff, we do a really good job of understanding our kids' personalities, what makes them go, what's going on in their life at that time. To make sure that we can help in any way we can, and that they can focus as much as they can on the court. But it's a challenge. It's a big challenge. And there can be a challenge tomorrow that I don't foresee today. But we just have to be ready for it. And we have a great staff. Everyone is it's a big family. We understand what's going on in the kids' life. And I think that really carries over to the court. And if you can get ahead of that, I think you're ahead of the game. But it's challenges, and we look forward to it. I love the opportunity to give Haley a chance to go out there and play, and she's done a fantastic job of doing that. And, I said this yesterday, everyone looks at, Haley is scoring. She's hit double figures for you in 4 straight games, whatever. The biggest thing she's done for us is that we haven't missed a beat because she's playing really good defense. She's where she's supposed to be. She's staying in front of her person, getting a little bit tougher, grabbing a couple rebounds here or there. And, yes, she's making some shots, but I think the biggest thing is we're not missing a beat because she's playing really good defense.
And I don't think we've talked to you since Mike Houston was hired. I'm wondering if you two have already bonded about being Cowboys fans.
No, I saw the press conference. I have not had a chance to meet him. I think we were like 10 feet away from each other yesterday when he was being introduced to the crowd. But it's a fantastic hire because he's a Cowboys fan, and right then and there it shows he's a very smart man. But I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to bonding and having a relationship. We both are representing something that I think is very, very special in JMU Nation. But I have not had a chance to meet him yet. My daughters were a little bit disappointed. Coach Withers, he had a son their age, and so immediately when they said that he had 2 sons, but when they found out they were like 6 and 4 or something like that, they were a little disappointed. But other than that, he's a Cowboy fan, so he's already A-OK in my book.
You've used the word challenge a lot here this afternoon, and every year obviously is different, but where does this rank amongst coaching challenges for you with the injuries, the immaturity of a team trying to get folks to come along a little faster maybe than they had planned?
I would say, honestly speaking, it's probably the 3rd hardest challenge that I've had as a head coach. The very first was when I had to take over mid-season with a team full of seniors, and that was my first, unlike Peyton, it was my first rodeo. And then probably the second biggest challenge was the very next year when it was my group and we had all freshmen. This has probably been the third biggest challenge, and because of the adversity, because of the mixture and kids who are going to have to play. Like I mentioned before, there's times when I have Muff out there as a senior, and then all young kids. And in a game that's still in question, not a game at the end of the game, it's a game that's still in question. And so it's been a tremendous challenge. But I'll also tell you, it's been one of my favorite years. We come to practice, and the kids, they work hard every day. They're fun-loving. They make me laugh. They make me cry. They make me mad. Everything all rolled into one. But I go to practice every day, loving it because they're a great group. I've watched this freshman group. You could probably call in September every one of them they were introverts. Now they're anything but introverts. They're extrovert. They come out and they rap, they sing. Yesterday was Kayla Cooper Williams' birthday, and she didn't even hesitate, got right in the middle, and she was dancing and rap. And so it's just a lot of fun watching them not only progress on the court, but watching them, progress, with their personalities and coming out of their shell, which is going to bode well for the future of our program.
Part of your success the last few years has been the chemistry and the communication your team, both verbal and nonverbal. Now you've got so many interchangeable parts. How would you grade where they're communicating as a squad right now?
As a coach, you always want it more, but they have two great leaders, four actually. Jazz, sometimes I think I should give Jasmine Gwathmey a part of my paycheck. I really do, because there's times where if I have said something more than once on occasion to a certain kid on how I want something done, she looks right at me and she can sense that I'm a little bit tired, frustrated, or don't feel like saying it again, and she steps right in and explains it sometimes better than I do, because she's been with me for so long, and she understands exactly what I want, how I want it, where I want it, and it's unbelievable. Jasmine is one of, if not the smartest basketball players I've ever had in my program. Understands schemes. She can make up for someone else's mistake really quick and then get back in position where she's supposed to be in an unbelievable fashion. If she wanted to, if she didn't have a professional career ahead of her, she'd make a tremendous coach. And Muff's the same way. It's a lot of fun when we go over schemes. And I'll just sit back and watch those two and how they pick up on it so quickly. How they will, during the course of a game, when the other team calls out a play, they will echo it. They will tell you what's going to happen before it happens, and the way that they're bringing along the younger kids. And it's a treat. It's a treat. I actually got to the point the other day where I was watching both of them interact and do something, and I just had this moment. It was a scary moment, and I'm like, this is my last year with those two, and they have really, they really understand it. They make my job a lot easier, and it's been a lot of fun being around them.
Early in the season, you were a little frustrated with how your team handled road trips and treating it as a business trip. Now that you got three big ones coming up back to back to back, where are they now in the maturation process of treating a road trip as a business trip?
They understand it. They understand it a lot better. The younger kids, it's really the upperclassmen totally understood what you needed to do, but unfortunately, we didn't have a team full of upperclassmen, and the underclassmen are really having to perform well for us. And they understand it now. They understand every road trip, and they really bought into being the hunter, and understand that we're not just going to walk out there and beat you because we have JMU on our chest. As a matter of fact, we're going to get your best shot. And I think the loss at William & Mary really opened their eyes to that. I told them before the William & Mary game, I said, if you go on a road trip and you lose the game, that team's going to celebrate like they won the Super Bowl. And they looked at me not really understanding what that meant. And lo and behold, when William & Mary beat us, they went to midcourt and they danced around, and it was like they won the Super Bowl. And I think the kids saw that, so they understood the preparation has to be a little bit tighter when we go on the road. We don't have the Convocation Center backing us. And with the exception of this weekend I thought we didn't come out as the hunter. I thought we kind of sat back a little bit and allowed ourselves to be the hunted. But I think that was an eye-opening experience. I think that will carry over to this weekend. It's going to be a really big weekend for us. We know we have to go out. We know Hofstra is excited to play us, and we're excited to play them. And it's been a long time. I think we played everyone in the league already except for Hofstra, and we're looking forward to the opportunity, as I'm sure they are. And the kids are going to have to be ready.
So the Dukes are on the road this weekend. They do face the Hofstra Pride, 7 o'clock. And then Sunday at Northeastern, that is a 2 o'clock ball game. Then the next home game for the Dukes, look ahead, will be against the Hofstra Pride, and that's on Valentine's Day, and that is a 1 o'clock start. Coach, thank you for joining us here today at O'Neill's Grill. Best of luck this week on the road, and we'll see you again next Monday here at O'Neill's Grill.